is the smallest structural unit of an organism that is capable of independent functioning. Please subscribe the channel to watch more informative videos like this. Cell. Cell is the smallest structural unit of an organism that is capable of independent functioning. Study about cell is called cell biology. It is also known as cellular biology. Cells are the basic structure of all living organisms. Cells take nutrients from food and convert that into energy. Cell also contains body's hereditary material. Cells have the ability to create copies of themselves that facilitate the growth of a body. Cell is made up of nucleic acid, proteins, carbohydrates and lipids. Normally, a cell consists of one nucleus and various other organelles in cytoplasm, all surrounded by a cell membrane. There is also some types of cell which do not have a nucleus. Cells are mainly classified into two according to the existence of nucleus: eukaryotic cells and prokaryotic cells. Most of the cells have a nucleus. Cells that have a nucleus are called eukaryotic cells. Cells without a nucleus are called prokaryotic cells. There is also some difference in cells of animals and plants. Cell membrane, cytoplasm, nucleus, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosome, Golgi Complex, Mitochondria, Centrosome and Lysosome are the important parts of a normal animal cell. Cell membrane. Cell membrane is the outermost covering of a cell that separates a cell from external environment. Cell membrane is also called plasma membrane. It is made up of lipids and proteins. It acts as a protective layer of a cell which forms a selective barrier that allows nutrients to enter and waste products to leave the cell. Cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is a jelly-like substance that fills the interior space of cells. It is mainly composed of water, but also contains salts, enzymes and other organic molecules. The cytoplasm surrounds and protects the organelles of a cell and is where many cellular process takes place. Nucleus. The nucleus is the most prominent and largest organelle in the cell, occupying around 25% of the cell volume. This membrane-bound organelle contains the genetic materials inside it. It stores all the information that is required to reconstruct the organism. The nucleus is present in every cell of the human body except some cells such as the red blood cells or RBCs. The nucleus is the control or regulatory center of the cell and houses all the cell's genetic information. The nucleus protects the cell's DNA while controlling all other cellular activities such as cell division, growth, protein production and cell death. Various proteins produced in the cell play a major role in regulating various activities of the cell. The synthesis of proteins in the cell is under the control of genes in the chromatin reticulum in the nucleus. Hence, the nucleus is considered as the regulatory center of a cell. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. Nucleolus contains the genetic informations of the cell in the form of deoxyribonucleic acid or chromosomes, and thus controls cell growth and multiplication. It is also the site of DNA replication, formation of an identical copy of DNA. Usually, a cell has a single nucleus that contains all of its DNA molecules. But some cells have more than one nucleus. Cells in bones and muscles have more than one nucleus. In cells of bacteria and blue-green algae, there is no nucleus. Nuclear membrane. The nucleus is bound by a double-layered membrane. The two layers of this stay separated from each other by a space known as the perinuclear space. The nuclear membrane separates the contents inside the nucleus from the rest of the cell. The outer layer of the nuclear membrane is rough because of the presence of ribosomes on its surface. Nuclear pore. The nuclear membrane has tiny gaps called pores. These pores allows the selective passage of substances between the nucleus and the cytoplasm. Nucleoplasm. The nucleoplasm is also called the karyoplasm or the nuclear sap. It is fluid-like substance in which the nuclear components are suspended. The nucleoplasm contains substances such as the DNA, RNA, and minerals. Nucleoplasm also contains many proteins. Chromatin reticulum. They are seen as network in nucleoplasm. The DNA is organized in the nucleus to form chromatin. The chromatin also contains proteins, the main protein being histones. The chromatin further condenses to form the chromosomes. The human cell has 23 pairs of chromosomes. Nucleolus. The nucleolus is a well-defined spherical structure within the nucleus. It is the site for the synthesis and assembly of ribosomes. The ribosomes act as the site of protein synthesis within the cell. Mitochondria. Mitochondria are small organelles floating free in the cytoplasm inside the cell. Mitochondria is the powerhouse of a cell. It produces and stores energy needed for the cell. It takes nutrients and breaks them down and create energy. Cells that need more energy have more mitochondria. Cells of liver, brain, and muscles have more mitochondria. Some cells have thousands of mitochondria. Number of mitochondria will be less in those cells that do not need much energy, and some cells have none. Neurons does not need much energy, so the cells of neurons does not have much mitochondria. If cells feel that it is not getting enough energy to survive, cell will create more mitochondria. Mitochondria have the capability to grow larger and combine with each other according to the situation. Ribosomes. Ribosomes are like the construction workers of the cell. The ribosomes are composed of RNA and various proteins. They can exist as free-floating organelles in the cytoplasm or they can be attached to specific structures like the endoplasmic reticulum in order to do specific jobs related to that structure. Ribosomes are the center for protein synthesis in the cell. The DNA molecules housed in the nucleus also contain blueprints for all of the proteins produced by a cell. These blueprints are read and interpreted by ribosomes and produce proteins by assembling amino acid sequences according to the instruction contained in the genetic code. Endoplasmic reticulum. The endoplasmic reticulum is a network of membranes inside a cell that is involved in the transportation of substances throughout the cell. It plays a primary role in the metabolism of carbohydrates, synthesis of lipids, steroids, and proteins. There are two types of endoplasmic reticulum: the rough endoplasmic reticulum and the smooth endoplasmic reticulum. The rough endoplasmic reticulum is studded with ribosomes, giving it a bumpy or rough appearance. The smooth endoplasmic reticulum does not have ribosomes attached to it. It folds and tags newly synthesized proteins before transporting them to wherever they are needed in the body, and is instead involved in hormone and lipid synthesis. Endoplasmic reticulum is also known as cytoskeleton because it provides firmness and shape to the cell. Golgi Complex. This series of flattened, membrane-bound sacs packages and distributes substances inside and outside the cell. Golgi bodies are called the cell's post office as it is involved in the transportation of materials within the cell. Once newly synthesized substances have left the endoplasmic reticulum, they are sent to the Golgi apparatus, where they packages and distribute the substances towards where they are needed inside the cell, and will send those substances to the cell membrane, which should go out of the cell. Vacuole. Vacuoles are found in both animal and plant cell. Key functions of vacuoles in the cell is storage. The vacuoles in plant cell is a larger one, but vacuole in animal cell is much smaller than the one in plant cell. They are also more in numbers in animal cell. In plant cells, vacuole is a very large organelle that can occupy up to 90% of the interior space of the plant cell. The vacuole is filled with cell sap, which consists mainly of water but also contains proteins, sugars, and other molecules. Another function of the vacuole is to maintain the turgor pressure, which helps the plant cell to keep its shape and prevent wilting and bursting. Centrosome. A centrosome is a cellular structure involved in the process of cell division. The centrosome is made up of two perpendicular centrioles, a daughter centriole and a mother centriole. These are linked together by interconnecting fibers. It consists of a complex proteins that helps in the formation of additional microtubules. Centrosome in the animal cell is very much like DNA. Cell division is starting with centrosome. Before cell division, the centrosome duplicates, and then as division begins, the two centrosomes move to opposite ends of the cell. During cell division, one centrosome from the parent cell is transferred to each daughter cell. Lysosome. Lysosomes are small, spherical organelles that are packed full of digestive enzymes. Their key function is to break down and recycle unwanted materials in the cell, such as old cell parts or invading bacteria and viruses. Lysosome also play an important role in programmed cell death. It also helps in cell renewal. Lysosomes are also known as cell suicide bags. Chloroplast. Chloroplasts are filled with chlorophyll the green pigment that gives plants their color. Chloroplasts are one of the most important organelles in plant cell as they are the site of photosynthesis. Photosynthesis is a process by which plants produce food. Cell wall. In plants, there is an additional protective layer outside the cell membrane called cell wall. It is made up of cellulose. It is the outer covering of a plant cell. This cell wall will help to maintain shape of a plant cell and provide strength to plants.